He's cute. Everybody is coming around to see him. I mean, you know how we do. We throw parties. Child don't know what's going on. We just frying fish and all of that. And, you know, they bring presents and you know, diapers and all of that. But after everybody left, he's cute. He's a baby. We've celebrated, but he's mine. I've got to feed this child. That's right. I got to keep a roof over this child. I got to protect this child from dangers seen and unseen. I've got to work hard every day to make sure that this child has a meal. Come on. This child is going to grow, and as this child grows, his needs are going to get greater. And one of the needs he's going to have is he's going to need a man in the house to teach him how to be a man. And even when I have some daughters, they may not be men, but they need a good man in the house to know what a good man looks like, so when they get older, they'll know how to pick up a good man. I've got an awesome responsibility. I've got to keep my name good. I've got to do things right. I've got to live according to God's will, because I want my child not only to be glad that he's alive, to be glad that who brought him into the... I want this child to be proud of who his father is. This is an awesome responsibility, and since it is, I cannot live and do my things the same way that I've been doing my thing, but I've got to make some changes in my life. I can't come in the old time of the night and do my own thing, stay out drinking all night. I've got to come in and make sure that my baby's got a safe place to lie his head and food. I cannot be in this house and at that house. I can't be getting it on and on and on till the break of dawn, being a rolling stone. I've got to do my thing, and I've got to do... This is an awesome responsibility. What am I trying to say? Well, I'm glad you asked. Listen, if you really value life and you value the life that God has allowed you to bring into this world, there ought to be some things about us that change when we know that God has given us the responsibility to be a father. Do you know what? I believe this. I believe this, Junior. I believe that the reason why is so much going on in our communities and in our families, because the strength is not in place.
Yeah, right. Amen.
Do you know how much power God has bestowed in the man?
Yeah.
That literally, y'all, do you know in the ancient times and even now, that if you ever wanted to destroy a culture, destroy a nation, destroy a people, they would take the men out and leave the women subject to the men that came in to overpower the nation. But when we got some good men in the place, accepting their responsibilities, even though they know that they have to deal with the burden of being the provider and the parental strength in the household, I'm here to tell you, y'all, God can do some awesome things through some ordinary people if we just figure out men that God has put us in place to keep the strength in the house. There's a reason why our women are out there subject to all of these social ills, because I believe that the strength is out of the house. There's a reason why we got Steve hooked up with Sam, because the strength is out of the house. There's a reason why there are some children being molested and being misused, because the strength is out of the house. But if we want our families back, you're trying to do right.
That's right.
Some sisters have dealt with so many knuckleheads, they don't know how to appreciate some good stuff when they got it. It's a burden. I mean, it's a burden. I mean, even in this court system, BJ, when you're trying to do right and you're trying to provide for your child, all the mama got to do is get up and tell a few lies and act like you ain't done nothing, and they'll rip you from the privileges of being in your child's life. It's a burden. But I'm here to tell you that we serve a God that although we got to deal with burdens, we serve a God that can bless us beyond measure. That if you stand up and do what God has called to do, He will use you. It's a burden, but it's also a blessing. It's a blessing because you listen, y'all. See, people in that day in the Bible didn't treat children like we do in our society today. I mean, a woman didn't feel complete.
All right.
Unless she had a child.
You're right. It's so right.
A man didn't feel like, he was somebody. Unless he had a child.
You're right.
And if you had a man child, if you had a boy, you were somebody's somebody. Because that was an indication to them that God was not only favoring you with a child, but He was favoring to keep your name going. Oh, I wish I had somebody here. So when Enoch looked at what God had done with him, by allowing him to give birth to a child by the name of Methuselah, he thought about the child that he had just seen being born, but he also thought about the first 65 years of his life that he lived. Oh, y'all, see, y'all ain't with me here. Y'all ain't with me here. See, some of the stuff that you ought to change and choose to follow God is when you look at the fact that as Enoch could have for the first 65 years, I believe that Enoch probably was a low-down sinner. I mean, I believe there was so much stuff, they didn't even tell us what he did for the first 65 years. I believe he got so much mess on his personal profile that Brother Moses writes this book. He'd have to write a whole nother book about the mess of Enoch. I mean, come on, y'all. Come on. And let's be honest, y'all. If God really wanted to, He could write a whole nother Bible for the mess that we've been in our life. I mean, we wouldn't just have a chapter. We wouldn't just have a book. We'd have a whole nother Bible about the sin that we have in our lives. But the truth of the matter is, no matter what he had done in the first 65 years of his life, Enoch said, I've got to make some changes in my life because God has blessed me in spite of the sin that's in my life. Is there anybody here to say, you know what, the reason why I love God so much, the reason why I wave holy hands, the reason why I shout the way I do is because I know that God has looked over my thoughts. Oh, I know. And I see my need. I mean, y'all, can I give a personal testimony? I think about it every time, I ain't gonna lie, I was tired. I was tired when I got here today. Tired. And I said I didn't feel like it. But then I thought about these last 11 years. These last 11 years that I've been blessed and privileged to preach God's gospel. These last 11 years where I've had my ups and I've had my downs. I've been through the storm and through the rain, but I got to stop here and say, oh, I made it. These last, and I thought about the blessings of God, and I started to count my blessings, and I began to name them one by one. I began to count my blessings, and I started to see what God, oh, I wish I had somebody here.